This morning, the Republican
Trump campaign pivot strategy to take on Kamala Harris. So let's talk about the most charismatic man to ever do it. Let's talk about the guy, the man, the myth, the legend, Jedediah Donald Vance, also known as John Don Vance. I mean, my king, my goat, a man who was so unique to the political field that he found a new way to be racist to white people. For those of you who don't know, JD Vance wrote a book. He wrote a book about how gross and disgusting and stupid the people living in the Rust Belt were. And then he sold that book, Hillbilly Elegy, to liberals. Liberals loved it. And then obviously that bestseller then turned into a Netflix movie. Why did it happen? Because liberals were like, how could these racist monsters, these hill people, vote for Donald Trump? How can we reach out to them? Maybe this guy will be the white working class whisperer for us. And his solution, of course, to these mountain people and their unique culture of defeatist attitudes and not listening to the right kind of Sigma Grindset podcasts was exactly that. They couldn't pick themselves up by their bootstraps, okay? And I think most people in the Appalachia region despise this man. This is him delivering a rousing speech in his hometown. Let's see what he had to say.
ticket adjusting to a political earthquake.
I was told I was going to get to debate Kamala Harris, and now President Trump's going to get to debate her.
Sources tell NBC News the Trump campaign and their allies have been preparing to face off against Harris for weeks, launching ads tying her to President Biden's handling of key issues like immigration and inflation, just hours after he endorsed her.
If you ever wondered how Joe Biden could get the border so screwed up, remember, he had help.
But President Trump lamented on social media over the
Bikers for Trump. This rally had a bunch of really cool moments yesterday that we covered. Does anyone have the link of the guy that came before them that said if Trump is not reelected, then we have to have a civil war? Oh, here's first and foremost, here's the Ohio State Senator George Lang at the JD Vance rally.
Trump and Butler County's JD Vance are the last chance to save our country politically. I'm afraid if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save the country, and it will be saved. It's the greatest experiment in the history of mankind. And if we come down to a civil war, I'm glad we got people like Schmitty and the Bikers for Trump on our side.
He said we need to do a civil war, which is ironic because he's in Ohio, which was objectively on the other side, the winning side, the last time around. But this time around, they'll get it right. Obviously, the unity narrative was like insane wish casting from not even like Republican analysts either, by the way. It was just like straight up from fucking a bunch of dummies on CNN, and it never happened. George Lang has since then apologized. Remarks I made earlier today at a rally in Middletown do not accurately reflect my views. I regret the divisive remarks I made in excitement of the moment on stage. I had a heated gaming moment. I just got excited. And you know me, when I get excited, I start talking about civil war and how we need it. How we need it and how the bikers will help us win it. Okay, for the right side this time. Yeah, he said, my views are not my own. This was another phenomenal moment from JD Vance because it's like the least self-aware take you could have.
About our likely opponent, Kamala Harris, because, she said a couple of days ago that I showed no loyalty to the United States, that I have no loyalty to the United States. Well, I don't know Kamala. I served in the United States Marine Corps, and I built a business. What the hell have you done other than collect a government check for the past 20 years?
That's pretty funny because, like, this is one of those, like, sneaky ways that you try to attack Kamala Harris and, like, be like, oh, she's a welfare queen, black woman, right? But you can always just fall back on, what do you mean? She's a government employee. That's simply what I was referencing. Dog, she was a senator, and then she's the vice president. You are currently a senator, and you're trying to be the vice president. And also, where do you think the checks for the Marine Corps are coming from? If she's a fucking government check Andy, so are you. What are you talking about? You're literally applying for the position she currently holds. And you're like, yeah, that's right. These goddamn people living on the government dole. Also ironic, considering that he talked about how welfare is what caused him to not die. And also talked about the GI Bill that allowed him to get into Yale. So what are you talking about? There was also another John Don Vance moment. Obviously, the Diet Mountain Dew one. I tweeted about him as well. I said, this fake ass yokel has never tasted the sweet nectar that is Diet Mountain Dew. He ain't a real Dew boy. Let's take a look at what he had to say about this Diet Mountain Dew, his tight five.
It is the weirdest thing to me. Democrats say that it is racist to believe, well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good. I love you guys.
He's really doing crowd work here. He's killing it. I love you guys. I love you guys. Diet Mountain Dew. I drink it just like you yokels do. You country bumpkins. Is he more of a charisma suck than Ron DeSantis though? No, of course not. I don't think he's as bad as Ron DeSantis, but that's like really bad. I mean, that's pretty fucking bad. I mean, he didn't even do fucking like please clap there, but that's basically a please clap moment. And by the one clap is worse than none. Yeah.
It's good. I love you guys. I do yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good.
It's good. It's good. One Mountain Dew versus 33,821 Mountain Dew. Who's the real patriot? Yeah. As someone who is a big time Dew boy, first of all, why did he say Diet Mountain Dew? Why did he say, oh, I tried a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday? It's like, bro, you are so fucking fake. You are so goddamn phony. Okay. You got no riz whatsoever. Anyway, let's hear what JD Vance says. Kamala Harris should be more grateful.
And when I think about Kamala Harris, who I guess is our vice presidential candidate officially, but I guess she's going to run for president now because Joe Biden dropped out of the race. You know, when I see when to take bets here, when it start a betting pool.
It's just so bad. It's bad. How did Donald Trump, who is like pretty fucking good at figuring out what works in terms of marketing himself, actually listen to his disgusting freak cokehead son, Donald Trump Jr., in terms of who he was going to select as his vice presidential candidate? Like, that is crazy. You know he's a fucking loser, dude. Your son, I mean. Donald Trump knows his son's a fucking loser. He knows it. He can't even hide that he knows it. He can't even hide that he feels it in his heart. So the fact that he actually listened to him and thought this is a great idea, and that's why he went with JD Vance, a guy at a time when the Republicans and Donald Trump himself has tried to like moderate his positions, talking about like, oh, well, maybe, you know, it's a states' rights issue or whatever the fuck, right? Like turned around and went with the fucking guy who's like incredibly restrictive on abortion, who has no charisma whatsoever, with a mountain of opposition, with a mountain of oppo research that liberals can immediately launch against them. Yeah, Mr. No-Fault Divorce, like, what are you doing, brother? What were you doing? What a throw. What a massive fucking throw. He can't string two sentences together and he's not even 80 years old. No, I mean, he's fine. He's definitely a communicator, chat. That's not the issue here. I mean, he's done TED Talks and shit. Problem here is that, like, this dude is so extremely online. One, liberals made him, so he has a lot of anti-Trump sentiment that will be used against the ticket over and over and over again. He is like, when he restructured his entire like persona, he went with like the Groyper memes, right? He went to Tucker Carlson. He was constantly on Tucker Carlson, constantly, every night. You go on Tucker Carlson and be like, Kamala Harris is a cat lady who's barren and doesn't have children of her own. Like weirdo shit. Do you feel me? His political instincts were awful. He did the Ron DeSantis shit, really leaning into the right-wing memes, right-wing populist memes. It makes no sense. It makes no dang sense. What's also funny about the JD Vance situation is this Atlantic article came out from Tim Alberta 2 days ago. This is exactly what the Trump team feared. A campaign that had been optimized to beat Joe Biden must now be reinvented. They locked in JD Vance as the VP, and now they're stuck with him. And he fucking sucks.